Okay, O1 is done. All right, so I didn't hear the fan in here. So I'm gonna grab my steamer. We're gonna take everything, unfortunately. Oh. All right, guys, so we do have a Whirlpool, and as you can see, totally frozen over. Now, this has been going on for a while. Got a little guy there, not sure how he got in. Been in there for a while. Poor guy. So this unit was frozen over. So customer's been complaining, and I would say probably, I don't know, 2 weeks. And his schedule was somewhat busy, so finally we were able to get him in. The temperature on the inside was around 45 in the fresh food section. Freezer's doing fine. This is a twin cool, meaning the freezer is independent and the fresh food is independent. So they work regardless of each other when everything is working. So I'm fast forwarding, and I want to show you how to remove the evaporator cover to get behind it, and pretty straightforward. So you do have 2 quarter screws, and under, now you're going to need a putty knife and a flat blade screwdriver. You will start by the angle, but pretty much in the tower, the piece going up in the middle, you will have to get your putty knife in between slightly, and just like that, and slightly pull it forward. Now, you can't pull too forward, you just want to basically get it loosened, and then you'll see shortly we're going to be removing 2 quarter screws, or 1/4 inch screws, right there, and one on the other side. And then you're going to pry, and as you pry, you're going to pull. Now, those 2 tabs, you can see it right by my thumb. They usually, not always, sometimes they break. Some models don't have them anymore. You don't need to put them back on. It actually holds on just fine without it. I think Whirlpool puts them there just to increase labor, okay? You don't need them, trust me. The newer units don't even have them. All right, see, and 9 times out of 10 they break. If you're careful enough, sometimes you get lucky. I mean, I do it both ways. And if they don't break, I pop them back under. I don't break them off. But if they break, don't worry about it. Now, that black part there, that's your evaporator. And the thing up top, that's your fan. So take a close look. You can see the bottom of the drain, totally frozen. Okay, so what you're looking at is a defrost issue, sort of. It looks it. But if you notice, the center of the coils are not frozen. So we're going to put the unit back into diagnostic, and we're going to check to see if we can hear the heater coming on. You will hear a sizzling. Just give it a few minutes. And number 6, I think, was the defrost. All right, so we're going to do some good defrosting. Hopefully you have a steamer. If you do not have a steamer, it's going to be very difficult to actually do this job. You sometimes might be able to use a hair dryer, but it does not do a good job. It does not get into areas that a steamer normally do. So sometimes you run the risk of burning and melting. So I don't encourage them. You're better off unplugging your unit, put some towels in there, and maybe put a couple fans, leave the doors open. Of course, unplug the unit and just give it 24 hours with the fans running in there. Or now when I say the fans, meaning an auxiliary fan, a fan that you plug in and just set inside the unit and wait for it to be fully defrosted. Now, this unit, we're dealing with a clog drain. You have to look at everything, and that's why I do these videos, to help you. You put a unit in diagnostic and it helps. Just remember, diagnostic is just a tool. It points you in the right direction. It doesn't always tell you exactly what's wrong. The fan on this fridge was not working. That does not mean the fan was bad. It means that the fan was restricted or was being held by ice or blocked by ice. So, big chunk right there under the fan. So, once everything is nice and defrosted, now the fridge is now free to do its thing. Meaning, to move the air, the warm air from the food, blows it up to the tower and into the vent in a circle or cycle continued. So, the drain is at the bottom, right at the base, and that's where I'm concentrating my heat. And at the end, you'll see where there's another layer of ice under the evaporator, and then we're actually going to check the drain itself by pouring some water once everything's melted, and you can see it's pretty fast forward, but you can still see the ice, and it's definitely frozen. Fan is good. So when you have a clogged drain, the idea behind that is the water or the condensate, when the fridge goes into defrost, any frost that has built up needs to go somewhere in the form of moisture or water. When the hole is clogged, that water has nowhere to go. So when it has nowhere to go, it builds up, forms a layer, and that layer actually turns into steam when the unit goes into defrost. Now, this unit does not have an actual heater. What it uses is hot gas. Gas gets super hot, and it literally melts the ice. Pretty effective, actually. So that's how that section operates. And the drain is nice and clean. So right now we're pretty much doing a quick wipe out, and we're going to be wrapping this one up. And this one's been a few months, and so far everything's good. Haven't had a call back on it. So you want to just double check everything. Now, if your drain is not being able to get water in, let's say when you're pouring water in, it overflows, then you need to get behind the refrigerator, remove the cover. You have to lift slightly and push in. Remove the cover, and remove the drain. The drain is held in with a 1/4-inch screws, and then you pull it down. Just be mindful, but if you get your fridge fully defrosted, you should be able to actually pour super hot water down that drain, and it will eventually, get unclogged. But just keep trying until you get it done. So everything looks good. We're pretty much done here. And as you can see earlier, the fan was working. The damper was working as well. So doing a quick wipe out, and we're going to be putting in back the cover and calling this one fixed. So just be mindful. Have good habits with your refrigerator. Don't leave the doors open. Be mindful of things that are on top. Anything that is on top of your refrigerator that could possibly get into the pathway of the seal, that could cause your fridge to ice up just like this. It's just external air being pulled in. Your fridge cannot cool your house. Just remember that. So if the doors are open, the fridge is trying to cool the house, and eventually it's going to cause it to ice up. And that little hook, I don't think I showed it, but I will link another video to show you how to remove that cover. It's pretty straightforward. Flat blade screwdriver into the slot, and you just push it to the left,